Every day we are told that there's a way to achieve everything we want, that there's a secret that only the people at the very top know, and if only they revealed it, we could be one of them. Now that's a lie. There is no great secret. How do I know? Because a secret, a magic shortcut, is a nonsensical dream. Success is built off of years of boring hard work, one repetition at a time. That's the only secret. So how does the hunt for nothing become the world's largest treasure hunt, with hundreds of millions of participants? And who is truly responsible for it? Any good treasure hunt needs a treasure. Somewhere on the beach in the Caribbean, deep under the sand, a large wooden chest is buried. It contains the secret to the successes of some of the most successful people of all time. There you'll find the secret to Steph Curry's shooting, the secret to Elon Musk's wealth, and the secret to Steve Jobs' incredible visionary mind. Anyone who discovers that chest won't just have the tools to be rich and famous, but they will have the tools to finally be happy, be satisfied, and be freed of wanting. Now someone has to go looking for it. Meet Ross. Ross is in his mid-20s. Ever since graduating, he's been working to achieve one dream, making it as an entrepreneur, getting out, building something that's his. And for 3 years, he has shown up. Every day, he has shown up. There are signs of life, small wins, moments where it felt like it was working. But 3 years in, the gap between where he is and where he wants to be is quite vast. And some nights, laying in bed, staring at the ceiling, a feeling starts to form that he can't quite shake. Is there something I'm missing? That question is the entrance to the hunt. That question is also, we should note, exactly what someone put in there for him to ask. But before we get to that, before we follow Ross down this rabbit hole, before we examine the map he was handed and who exactly drew it, we need to answer something more fundamental. Why is Ross so sure that there is a treasure hidden in the first place? He has never seen the chest. Nobody has. There's no photograph of it, no verified coordinates, no credible eyewitness account. And yet, Ross, smart and driven 3 years in, is absolutely certain that somewhere in there, somewhere, there's a secret he doesn't know. A lever he hasn't yet pulled. Something the only people at the very top know. Where did that certainty come from? That's actually where our hunt actually begins. This is a tactic as old as time. There were always successful people. People with more gold, more cattle, more land, more women. And there have always been the people that aren't those people but aspire to be them. The gap between the person you are and the person you want to become has been monetized for centuries. Advice, tricks, philosophies. The packaging keeps changing, but the transaction doesn't. Something has shifted in the last 10 years. Something that has turned a century-old tactic into the world's largest treasure hunt. Social media. For the first time in history, the gap between you and the most successful people in the world is collapsed into a screen. You don't just know Elon Musk exists, you see him tweet, you read about his net worth. You see Mr. Beast's subscriber count tick up in real time. You watch Steph Curry's highlight reel on Instagram. The successful people are no longer distant figures, they're in your pocket. Despicable proof that the life you want is real and someone else is living it. And where there's a gap, there's always been someone to sell you a bridge. People quickly realized social media wasn't just a place to share photos. No. It was the greatest marketplace for aspiration ever built. And the economics of it revealed something uncomfortable almost immediately. The more you promise, the more you get watched. Not slightly more, dramatically more. A video telling you to eat a little better, to sleep a little better, maybe gets a few thousand views. A video telling you that there's only one trick you need in order to get shredded in 10 days blows up. The algorithms don't reward accuracy, they reward engagement. And we engage far more with extremities. And so the self-help and fitness space exploded. Tens of billions of views per year, one of the largest content formats on the planet. And sure, a lot of that content is genuine, actual people who know things, actually trying to help you, trying to make you better. People giving real, honest advice. But consistently, that kind of content gets outperformed by the opposite. Because for every honest video, there are 3 videos telling you can lose 50 pounds in a week with their supplement. 3 more videos telling you the only exercise you need to have abs in 7 days. Buy one course and in 6 months, you'll go to making six figures every month. The morning routine of a billionaire, the investment strategy no one is talking about. Always buy the course, watch the video, take the supplement. And finally, you can have the car you always wanted, the body you always wanted. But notice what they're actually saying when they say that. They're not really talking about the car. Nobody ever is. The car happens to be the shape of the promises themselves. What they're really selling, what every single one of those videos is selling underneath the clickbait thumbnails and the transformation photos, is the thing Ross has been lying in bed dreaming of for years. The feeling that one day, if the circumstances are just right, the wanting will stop. He will arrive. His life will finally start. That's what's being sold. That's what's always being sold. Social media didn't invent the promise. Ross isn't searching because he's naive. Ross is searching because an entire industry has been built around the question he has always been asking. The treasure was never the point, the hunt was. So why is Ross still hunting? He's not stupid. He knows somewhere, underneath the clicking, the watching, and the buying, that if something is too good to be true, it probably is. He has known that since he was a kid, everybody has. And yet, here's the uncomfortable part about this hunt. The part that's harder to look at than the algorithms and the multi-billion-dollar industry. Nobody made Ross start searching. Nobody made him pick up the map to this imaginary hunt. It's very easy and very satisfying to point at the machine, to gesture at the clickbait thumbnails and the lobbying and the sponsored content and say they did this. They built the hunt, they buried the secret that doesn't exist, and then sold people directions on how to find it. All of that is true, every word of it. But while they were burying the treasure that was never there, Ross was already on the beach, shovel in hand. He bought it not because he was deceived, but because he wanted to. Because the alternative, the real alternative, the thing that's been sitting right in front of him the whole time, the thing that's free, is so much worse. Because accepting the truth means putting down the map. And putting down the map means there's nothing between Ross and the work anymore. There isn't any more excitement, any more momentum or motivation. What's left is the 1,000 mornings that you need to show up where nothing feels like it's happening. The repetitions that don't feel like progress, but only years later you realize that they were the only progress. The sacrifices nobody sees and nobody applauds, and nobody makes a course about because it's too boring to monetize. The answer isn't hidden. It never really was. Show up today, show up tomorrow, do it again, and every time get just a little better. For years, without a guarantee, without a sign it's working. Without a secret to blame when it feels like it isn't. That's it. That's the whole chest. That's everything buried in the sand in the Caribbean. Years of unglamorous, unwitnessed, unremarkable work. No Lamborghini on the thumbnail. Just Ross and the thing he's been building day after day after day. Overnight success is real. It happens. But what looks like overnight success from the outside is actually thousands of failed nights. All for one visible morning. Ross knows this. He has always known it. The hunt was never about finding the secret. In the verdict of this case, the end of this hunt, the verdict every case like this always reaches is that in every generation, in every century, there has always been people who were successful and people who wanted to become them. The treasure is real, but it wasn't what everybody thought it was. It was never in the chest. It was in the 3 years Ross already put in. It was in the small stones he already picked up, one by one. On the days it didn't feel like it, on the days nothing seemed to move. On the days he opened his phone, looking for another shortcut, and found instead another morning of the only answer that was ever true. The secret is that there is no beach, there's no chest, there's only work. It was in the showing up, in picking up the small stones, even though you really want to pick up big ones. It was in picking up the tiny, small stones, one after the other, even though you really want a big one.